In today's video, we're going to be going over some lingering severe weather, a potential upcoming snowstorm, and a massive Arctic blast. Let's get straight into things, and we're taking a look at our national radar here, of course. And as you can see, we still have this big storm here in the eastern United States, and this one is still going to pose some problems here for the southeastern states for the next 2 days, and then it will finally move out from the United States. We do have some mixed precipitation up here for the Great Lakes as well. We have a little pocket of showers there for New Mexico and Texas, and then some showers offshore of Washington State. So let's take a look at those real quick up here in the Pacific Northwest. And as you can see, these showers are approaching the coast of Washington. They should be there over the next few hours as we get later today. It is actually quite rare that we're even seeing dry conditions for this region, so soak it up, enjoy it while it's there for sure. And then for this region, it's a little bit more rare that we have precipitation, so it's the exact opposite. But south of Albuquerque, we are seeing some snowfall there on the northern extent of this precipitation. And then we're seeing a lot of rainfall as you approach the Mexico-United States border. There is some freezing rain potentially happening there south of the Mexican border, which I find to be quite interesting. I do know there is tall mountains out there, though, so it does make sense. Now, let's take a look at this in segments, but we do have our major storm out here. We have this mixed precipitation, a little bit more wintry of a storm up here for Wisconsin. We see Michigan, even the upper peninsula of Michigan there, and then areas like Minneapolis there in southern Minnesota. This is either a cold rain for you guys that are seeing rainfall down here, freezing rain and sleet in between here in these pinks and oranges. And then we also have plenty of snowfall going on for these regions here. Again, the upper peninsula of Michigan there, northern Wisconsin, and southern Minnesota. And actually near Minneapolis there, you see those blues. That is indicating very, very heavy snowfall, so that should be taken into consideration that this is actually quite the hefty pocket of snowfall there for that region to the south of Minneapolis. Now, kind of to the south and west of where the main storm is at, we do have these showers around and potentially thunderstorms. These are on the lighter side and they're a lot more isolated, but they should be taken into consideration because I do see a few of these areas like here in Indiana and then here in pockets of Missouri, Illinois, and into Iowa that I would say would cause some potentially heavier rainfall amounts and could lead towards some localized flooding for sure. Now, as we move more towards the northern region here of our kind of cold front area here, bringing some thunderstorms, this is an area that could potentially bring some flooding for sure. You can see lots of those yellows and oranges indicating the more moderate to heavy rainfall going on. I see a lot of that for northern Georgia, upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, and West Virginia there, and even up in through Ohio and Pennsylvania, we're seeing some of that heavy rainfall. Now, later today, some of these regions east of the Appalachian Mountains could be seeing some thunderstorms from these same showers as they cross over the mountains, and the heat of the day strengthens them around here. So you're going to want to watch for that as well. And even as we head further south here into the southeast, you can see these ones are already pretty much thunderstorms here for Georgia, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida as well there. And these are going to head into the more eastern and coastal regions here, as you can see. And this is definitely going to be needing to be watched as well for flooding and also potential severe weather with that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the modeled guidance because we need to talk about that potential snowstorm, but also that Arctic blast. Now, first off, here is that potential snowstorm. We're going to be taking a look at it in a moment, actually. Here is the current storm that we're watching. So we're going to watch this one move out. And what you will see happen is that it does eventually move out. This does bring some storminess to the southeast, like I mentioned. Let me backtrack this actually a little bit. We see that storminess move through. This is day one. And then we see it kind of recycles in day two. We see the coast kind of get some more thunderstorms potentially. And then it fully moves out. But what we see happen here is that this Arctic air mass really shoves its way down on around this frame. We'll watch it happen there into the eastern United States. And clearly we have a jet stream that looks a little bit like this. We're going to be deep diving into that Arctic blast in just a moment. You can see if you scroll through the little bar there at the bottom that you will see sections. So if you just want to get straight to the Arctic blast, you can skip to it. I have those titled now, which is pretty sweet as well. We see some snowfall showers throughout this entire Arctic blast period, which is definitely interesting to note that there will be some wintry weather around. This isn't going to be, just a little bit cooler. This is going to be kind of winter's last laugh, if you ask me. We're heading into April, and it's going to be harder for that winter-like temperatures to move in, but definitely it is going to be around now, late March, a little bit possible here at the very tail end of winter. So here's our next potential snowstorm. We see this low pressure system in 990. We're going to watch it dive down like this, and we're definitely watching all of these northern regions for a potential snowstorm. And it's been a while since they've seen one like this, but as you can see, we have a 994 diving down, some freezing rain along this, but definitely some pretty persistent snowfall up here. And what's interesting is you'll also note that we do see a cold front extend down on the southern end of this storm. That will be worth noting because this will bring some severe weather implications with it. But this is going to be Tuesday heading into Wednesday here that we're taking a look at right now. And as we head this even further, we can see it's a 990 by this point over Ohio. We see the cold front underneath. Again, potential severe weather implications down there. This is midday on Wednesday. We see plenty of snowfall here for kind of the upper Midwest, up and through the Northeast as well. But Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and even a bit of New York there and a bit of New England also seeing these snowfall implications. We see a lot of freezing rain as well here in these pinks being indicated. We see the cold front reaching the East Coast here. And we see plenty of snowfall now for the Ohio Valley there and north of the freezing rain up there in New England. And then eventually we see that one move out. And our next storm would be moving in, but this is at the very, very tail end of the model run. This is going to be April 2nd, but that will be when our next storm could potentially be moving in. And we'll need to talk about that one once we get there. But let's take a look at the total snowfall real quick. And as you can see, over the next 10 days, we're actually potentially going to be seeing a foot plus of snowfall for these northern regions here. So let's talk about it. In the grays, you're expecting a dusting, if anything. Blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples will be 6 to 10. Your pinks are going to be 10 to 20. And those pastel areas like you see for Wisconsin, Michigan, New Hampshire, Maine there, we see those very bright pastels. That's where you're at 20 inches plus. So this is definitely a significant snow event that we could be taking a look at here in the north central and the northeastern United States. Now let's move on and talk about that big Arctic blast. So here's the temperature anomalies, and we're just going to move through this. We see that there is some warmer than normal conditions for this region around, also for the west, and most of the cold is centered over the central United States or the south central United States. This is the next couple of days. We see a little bit of cooler temperatures move in around Saturday morning, Friday into Saturday. That's going to be 25th, 26th time frame, but it's not significant. It's just a couple of degrees from normal in the blues. That's going to be 1 to about 5 degrees below normal, so nothing significant. It's after this point that we really see this Arctic blast move in, so pay attention to this air mass up here, which definitely features significantly far below normal temperatures. Watch it just blast in to the eastern United States. This is bringing temperatures like in the greens 10 to 15 degrees below what is typical, and then even in those blues within the greens, about 15 to 25 degrees below what's typical. And then in the magentas there, like we see for Pennsylvania, New York, New England, and even up in Canada, as well as northern Michigan there as well, that's 25 to even 35 degrees below normal. So we are seeing significant departures from what is typical here in this major Arctic blast that basically is going to be just slamming its way into the eastern United States here in kind of the middle ranges of the pattern here. This is definitely going to need to be watched because we've been seeing kind of some cozy temperatures above normal temperatures here for quite a while in the central and eastern United States. And an Arctic blast like this would absolutely just flip things in the other direction for sure. Crazy, crazy stuff here. And as we move on with this, we can see it kind of lingers actually. We do see this warm air trying to shove its way back up into the southeast. And this frame is going to be by about Wednesday, March 30th. And we can see the cold is still around too, though, bottled up here. It's just a battle that's happening here. But the cold ends up winning. It recycles. We see the cold just kind of move around like this, do a circle, and then the warm air that was here just moves out to sea. So the cold shoves its way back in, and we see these, again, 10 to 15 degree below normal temperatures in the greens, and the blues are going to be 15 to 20 degrees below normal. Just make their way back in by April 1st. And no, this is not a joke. But definitely by the time we're reaching April 2nd here at the very end of the model run, I can see how a lot of the cold is switching back out west. We see these warmer temperatures building in here, and they seem to be heading eastward. So I would say around early April timeframe is when we could see our next warm-up after this cooler pattern sets in. It seems like that's what this model wants to do with it, kind of recycle the cold back to the west, and then just kind of move the warmth back to the east. So that could be a scenario where we see things move back to the way they were. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Storm Prediction Center because we still have 2 more days of severe weather to talk about. So here's day 1 on the categorical outlook, and as you can see, we have a general thunderstorm risk here in the lighter green, which means severe weather is not expected, but it definitely will be possible anywhere. We see that the darker green is where severe weather becomes a little bit more possible in here. We expect kind of some isolated severe weather reports there in the marginal risk areas. Then we have 2 slight risk areas, one there for the Ohio Valley and one there for the southeast, and that's where we expect some more scattered severe weather implications and some pretty bad thunderstorms could be happening pretty widespread within those areas there. Let's take a look at the individual outlooks real quick. Here's the damaging wind outlook. We have a 5% chance of damaging wind within 25 miles of a given location there within the green, a 15% chance there within the yellow. And as we move on to the hail outlook, you can see it's the same exact thing here, same exact percentages, except we don't have that yellow area over the southeast. We only have the one there over the Ohio Valley, which is pretty interesting. And then as we move on to the tornado outlook, you can see we have a 2% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of a given location there within the green regions, and then a 5% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of a given location there within the browns. Let's move on to day 2 because we do have a little bit to talk about here. We have the general thunderstorm risk up and down the east coast, and then again, that marginal risk kind of lingering there for the eastern seaboard in the southeast. I talked about that a little bit earlier on. Let's take a look at those individual outlooks real quickly. Wind, we're going to have a 5% chance of damaging wind within 25 miles of a given location there within the green region, but we have a less than 5% chance of hail here, but we do have a 2% chance of tornadoes. That definitely needs to be watched. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, I have a big surprise for you guys. Are you ready? 5 out of 6. Today we talked about a temperature air mass primarily. So we talked about that big cool down, and I definitely feel more confident in that than I usually would about a storm. So I decided to move up to a 5 out of 6. We moved up, guys. We finally did it. We broke the trend. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lily Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Cotalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Calisi also. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.